Welcome to the Breaking Hyman podcast. My guest is Bradley. You just use your first name?
Yeah, that's
okay.
cool.
All right, cool. Guest is Bradley. I've been on. So you are the co-host of one of the co-hosts of the Snake Pit.
Snake Pit, and then
yeah, you and
Lords of
Jen,
Film.
you and Jen have Lords of Film together,
Yeah.
which I've been a guest on a couple times. That's a lot of fun. We could talk about movies on this one too a little bit. I mean, we can talk about everything. I don't have a hard format for.
Yeah, no. What's it called? I came across some videos yesterday. I was actually want to bring up.
Okay.
Andy Kaufman.
Andy fucking Kaufman. You brought up the right subject, dude. I am Andy Kaufman. I point to a lot of comics as the reason, like David Cross, Patton Oswalt. But Andy Kaufman is one of the first stand-up comics that I was like truly fascinated by. When the Jim Carrey movie came out, I read his biography that Bob Zamuda wrote, which is a lot of it's bullshit. I don't know if you've gone down that rabbit hole, because his best friend Bob Zamuda is a known liar. So a lot of this lore about Andy Kaufman, you don't know how much of it's true and how much isn't.
Yeah, that's the hard thing, because it's just like everything he did was for the laugh. It was for the expression, the reaction of it.
Yeah,
but no, like I came across quite a bit of his like the real actual footage of him, because sometimes when you go like on TikTok, it's mainly the scenes from Man on the Moon.
Yeah. But there's. It's funny that Jim Carrey played him in a movie, because Jim Carrey is more famous, and he was at the time, than Andy Kaufman ever was.
Yeah.
Andy Kaufman was well known. He was on SNL. He was on Taxi. He was on a lot of TV. He starred in a movie called Heart Beeps, but he wasn't like one of the most famous people ever, like Jim Carrey was at one point in time. But what did you find on TikTok?
No, the one that I saw was when he's doing a bit where he kind of bombs.
Okay.
He bombs on purpose, and then he starts like crying, but like it turns into this African beat where he starts banging on.
Yeah, so great, dude.
That, and then when he was on Johnny Carson, he did the Elvis impression.
Oh yeah.
And Elvis Presley's, up until when he was alive, he said that was probably the best and only impression that he approved of.
I would highly recommend the book Andy Kaufman Revealed by Bob Zamuda. I read that. I think I let somebody borrow it, so I don't even have a copy of it anymore. But it's it basically is his whole story, But when he
excuse me,
was doing, like that character, it was something he really worked on and stuff, and it clicked with people, and you never knew. But yeah, him and Bob Zamuda went to Graceland, I think after Elvis died, like a couple years after Elvis died, and there were tapes, and whoever was giving the tour was like, "Here, check this out," and he popped a tape in, like an old VHS or beta or something, and it was Andy and and he's like, "Elvis loved you because you did an impression of Elvis as a young man."
Yeah.
A lot of the Elvis impersonators would do the old fat Elvis, and Elvis didn't like that. He didn't like the fact that he got out of shape and wasn't, he was kind of a joke. And Andy didn't do that version of Elvis. He did the fucking young 50s, late 50s Elvis.
Well, because when you watch that Carson bit, you think that he's like lip singing.
Yeah.
And then he starts interacting with the crowd.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, no, that's his real voice. But yeah, what Andy Kaufman. Just the, and he went on Letterman a lot as well.
Yeah. Well, the whole Jerry Lawler thing and the him wrestling women, it was fucking hilarious. And there wasn't anybody like him. There was nobody like, even remotely like him. And I like the theory that he faked his own death. And
Do you think that's somewhat true, but he actually ended up dying?
No, I don't know. Because he had supposedly told people, that he was going to fake his own death and things like that. But I don't know. Apparently he believed that, this whatever psychic healing that he was going down to like South America to do was going to work. And then, But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. That's a good. I mean, he's dead. He's definitely dead.
Yeah, he's for sure.
The world, someone would have figured that out at some point.
But there was a time, like even up to the 90s, people really thought he was still alive.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because it was like mid 80s. I think it was 84 when he died. I was a little kid. Yeah.
But like it's crazy because there's sightings of. Because they did the Tony Clifton thing, him and Zamuda, and there's sites of. It could have just been another comedian that just knew how to do it well, but there was sites of Tony Clifton doing things, but Bob Zamuda was in the crowd.
Yeah, and Jim Carrey even did some stuff with Bob Zamuda when they were doing the movie.
Have you ever seen is it Jim and Andy? Is that what it's called?
I watched that. I've watched that documentary twice. I watched it totally straight once, and I watched it on mushrooms, and it fucked with my sense of reality big time because I don't know why I decided to watch it while I was on mushrooms, but it was interesting. It was probably a little over a year ago. No, 2 years ago. But yeah, Jim Carrey, it's very spiritual and stuff. Like he was channeling the spirit of Andy Kaufman, Andy Kaufman's family. But did you watch it?
Yeah, I did.
It's fucking crazy. It's nuts.
Yeah, it's weird. It's amazing. I mean, he was nominated for the Golden Globe for it, but it's crazy how he didn't get that Oscar nomination.
No. And supposedly there were several other actors, like Nicolas Cage wanted that role as well. And I could see him doing a really good Andy Kaufman because he actually maybe looks a little bit more like Andy Kaufman.
Apparently it was between, it was Jim Carrey who ended up getting it, Nicolas Cage, of course. But Kevin Spacey was in the run.
Kevin Spacey, I could see that. Yeah, back because that was right around the time of American Beauty, too.
Young Kevin Spacey does kind of look like young Andy Kaufman in a way.
Yeah. Well, Kevin Spacey's a great impressionist too. He does a great Christopher Walken.
He also does a great Johnny Carson.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah. It's kind of sad that he fucking did all the shit he did because Kevin Spacey, insanely talented actor and insanely talented creep.
There was a moment this past year he was starting to get on all these podcasts
I didn't know that.
he was like complaining I'm about to lose my house. I'm about to.
Yeah, that's what happens when you do the shit like that. It's like, okay.
That's the thing about celebrities. Once their career falls, I feel like celebrities they could get a crap ton of money.
Yeah,
and they could be set for the rest of their life.
Yeah,
but these celebrities have these lavish.
They have the lavish lifestyle. See, I would do the Kevin Bacon, Keira Sedgwick thing. They do not live in Hollywood. They live on a farm somewhere. If I ever became a famous for doing anything or had a lot of money, I would fucking buy a house in Lubbock. Why would you? And then just hey, you want me to do this movie? You want me to do this TV show or whatever? Fly me out. But I live here, and that's like Chappelle lives in Ohio.
Yeah, I mean, now all the celebrities are moving to Austin, but
fuck that.
I mean, but McConaughey was the first one.
Being from Texas, and I think Sandra Bullock is in Elijah Wood. There was a lot. Yeah, there was even
Robert Plant was living in Austin.
Robert Plant. Well, he was dating. Robert Plant was dating. What's her name? She died.
Was her name Alyssa?
Well, maybe it was somebody else, but he dated Nancy Griffith for a while.
Oh, okay,
and she passed away. She's a country singer from Texas. Yeah, and then he did music with Alison Krauss.
That's right.
But I don't know if him and Alison Krauss they make beautiful music
together.
I thought
they were.
They might have.
I swear they were married at one time.
Yeah, they might have been. I don't know. I'm not. I went to that last concert that was at the Municipal Auditorium before they tore it down. It was Robert Plant with Lucinda Williams opening.
Oh shit!
Such a great show. Yeah, but it did. So let's we can talk about movies a little bit. What have you seen lately? Did you watch Nosferatu?
Yeah, I did the triple Nosferatu with A Complete Unknown, and then I went to go see Baby Girl.
I have not seen the other two. I watched Nosferatu last week. I really wanted to watch Baby Girl. Just recommend, yes or no?
I would say, yeah. I went. That was a date movie, so that's a weird movie to go to by yourself or with another dude.
I'll go by myself. I don't care. I went and watched Wicked with my friend Devin because I'm I don't want to look like a weird fucking guy sitting in Wicked by myself. So me and her went and watched that together. But usually I don't care. I went and watched what did I watch by myself? I do go. I need to. I'll just go watch Baby Girl by myself. I don't know anybody that wants. I don't know if I want to see Complete Unknown. I love Bob Dylan, but I'm more of a fan of his music than his life.
You know, it actually surprised me because biopics are very hit or miss.
Yeah,
especially music ones. But it really just focuses on when Bob Dylan gets to New York. And up until the Highway 61 revisited album.
So that's okay. Yeah, so it's like a span of like 5 years or something.
Yeah, it's pretty much that hump he had to go through when people with folk music saying what was folk.
I feel like the Coen brothers did a better Bob Dylan biopic with Inside Llewyn Davis that wasn't even, it was just about that scene.
That was a great movie. I
love that fucking movie.
But Inside Llewyn Davis was just more about because people they dealt with just being poor.
Oh yeah.
And being poor, going on drugs,
having to get Carrie an abortion because he was fucking her while she was dating Justin Timberlake.
Fucking what's it called? What's the damn song that they sing? Is it Mr. Kennedy?
Oh yeah.
Justin Timberlake
going to space. And it's got Adam Driver in that scene, and that was fun.
Yeah, no, Inside Llewyn Davis. I
love that movie.
It's a great movie, but it makes you if you're going through something hard yourself, that is not a movie to watch.
No, it's not a happy fun time movie at all. I mean, it's this guy basically in a perpetual state, and I love how it kind of Mobius strips like Pulp Fiction, where it begins and ends kind of at the same point. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah,
but I may watch it.
But James Mangold, he
did the Walk the Line too.
He did Walk the Line.
One of my favorite movies, Copland. He directed that. That movie fucking rules.
He did that, and then what else did he do? He did
Reach into Yuma.
That, and then he did Ford versus Ferrari, which was actually a great movie.
I like that movie a lot. Yeah. I didn't watch just the straight up Ferrari movie. Did you? The one with Adam Driver?
Did not.
No. I watched the House of Gucci or whatever it was. Was that what it was called?
The one with Lady Gaga?
Yeah, the one with Lady Gaga. Adam Driver playing an Italian businessman again. And Jared Leto was the most entertaining part of that movie. He plays this weird uncle or whatever, the Gucci family. Yeah, it wasn't a good movie, but it was entertaining. So.
Yeah, no.
Penelope Cruz is in there, I think, too.
Yeah, no, there's been some wild movies coming out.
Well, there's so many movies that are similar coming out now. Hell,
it was always like that. I mean, when Tombstone came out, Wyatt Earp came out.
Yeah, as well. That's true.
There's a couple other ones I can't think of right now.
Well, it's weird that it's they're casting the same actors and stuff in a lot of these. Did you watch? I think I asked Jen about this. My favorite movie of 2023, and it came out in theaters back in August. My favorite movie of 2024. Sorry. We're in 2025 now. Strange Darling. Did you watch that?
I did not.
That movie fucking rules.
Which one's that about?
I don't want to give too much away because the less you know. It's horror, and it's broadly a serial killer horror movie, but it is so different. And it's no big stars. The only guy I knew in it is Kyle Gallner. You know what? Ed Begley Jr. has a small role in it, and Barbara Hershey maybe. But Kyle Gallner, he plays the boyfriend cop or the ex-boyfriend cop in the first Smile movie, and then he's in the opening scene of the second Smile movie, and then So, but he's kind of a cool indie actor. But yeah, that was my favorite movie of 2024, Strange Darling.
Smile was another movie that
Smile too was entertaining.
You mean well, Jen was giving me shit because I hadn't seen the first one.
Oh yeah,
and I watched the first one.
You don't need to see the first one to see the second.
No, yeah, but I watched the first one, but then 2 hours later, I went to go see the second one.
You did a double feature.
Yeah, but that was a good one too. There was a lot of horror movies that came out. I hadn't got to check out everyone.
Yeah.
The one that I want to see is that Spider movie that came out.
Spider.
It's I think it's called Infestation.
Okay, I don't know about that one. Yeah.
Apparently it's apparently it's pretty fucked up. But
I went and watched with Russell and Angel the other night. Went and watched The Damned.
I've been hearing good things about it.
It was really good. I need to watch it again because I took some edibles beforehand and it just got too much this is the it was very it was very atmospheric, very I would say the closest it would the vibe of it was kind of like The Witch, except The Witch is like pilgrims. These are fishermen. It's like in a small, but kind of similar time period, the 1800s, So yeah, it was fucking crazy. I would recommend it. And then I want to go watch The Last Showgirl while it's playing. The Pamela Anderson, Liam Neeson thing.
I've been hearing good things about that one. Yeah. Jamie Lee Curtis is in that one too, right?
Is she really? I don't know.
I think so. She got nominated for
all I know
for the SAG.
Okay. I haven't been. Somebody was asking me like, "Oh, what'd you think of the Golden Globes?" I'm like, I don't fucking watch the Golden Globes. Like, I mean, I watched Nikki Glazer's monologue just because I'm interested in stand up and stuff and how that kind of But the Oscars are the only award show I really ever watch.
Yeah, but I feel like nowadays it used to be where whoever won the Golden Globes or whoever won the SAG, the SAG, usually that was like who was going to win the Oscar. But nowadays it seems lately it's been a lot different.
Yeah, they don't follow those lines near as closely. Yeah,
I think it's also because too they added so many voters this last couple years.
Yeah, that screws up the whole process. Yeah,
I wonder how this year's going to be affected because the Academy announced that. They were going to delay voting.
Really?
So, because of all the Hollywood's basically on fire right now.
Yeah. That is true. It's crazy. I mean, once they put the fires out, this might be the best time to visit because everything's cheap as hell.
Hell yeah.
No one wants to go. I've thought about going. I have friends there, so I should probably make sure they're still alive.
Yeah, I wonder how many people that moved out of California to Texas were like, yes, we got out just
exactly. Well, they probably it's like, we didn't start the fire. No, these people that moved to Texas, they did start the fire, and then they left immediately. Yeah, it's crazy because when I was did in Austin over New Year's Eve for Kill Tony, and there were people. I didn't realize how wide the Kill Tony fandom went, because I met people from the first guy I met was from like North Carolina. I talked to people from there. I met a guy from Toronto, or actually Niagara Falls, but the Canadian side. I met people from fucking everywhere. There's a guy from Colorado that I hung out with that I knew before, but he had just moved to Austin, so it was crazy. Fun.
It's like the all around Texas right now. Because hell, even here in Lubbock, like I meet people from Hawaii. From Canada too. Mm-hmm. They said the main people that are moving over here are Californians and Canadians.
That makes sense. I mean, I know a couple of Canadians that are instructors at Tech, and then there are at least four comics that do comedy in Lubbock that are originally from California. Curtis, Angel, Tanner, and Ricky, all from California, and he turned. Curtis has been here for a while, but Angel just moved here from like East LA like a year ago, something like that.
Even when I was going to Tech, met quite a bit of people from Pennsylvania. Because they were telling me that
interesting.
It was way cheaper for them to move out of state, come here to Texas, go to Tech, than it was to stay in their hometown.
Yeah. Well, in the same way, like I worked at the med school at Tech for a little while, and people come from all over the country because the cost of living in Lubbock and tuition at Texas Tech University Health Sciences School of Medicine is like way cheaper than if you wanted to go on the East Coast or something like that. For now, God, man, we're gonna get priced out of.
Yeah, it really is because I'm
paying like way too much for a 1-bedroom apartment. It is stupid. How much it costs to live?
Well, even not
as a single person,
not just here, but like especially
everywhere. Yeah.
But especially places like Austin, like you always hear stories from the from the people that lived in Austin, the 80s and 90s. That they said that they could do their art, wait tables and still pay their rent and still live, go out.
Yeah,
but
not anymore.
It's just not like that anymore.
Not anymore. It's crazy. I can't.
People found out about it.
They did, and it's become a hub. It was a hub for music, and now it's a hub for comedy and the film industry too. Yeah. So many people, like my best friend was there, and he like had friends that like, they did costumes for like HBO shows, and so I'm like, what? And like, they shoot here, or a lot of people are based here, and they fly them different locations, and it's just becomes sort of like another part of the industry, and it's crazy to me.
Yeah, I really.
It's in Texas.
Yeah, I feel like I'm I mean, hell, you go back to like the 70s and 80s. There's a lot of like just random movies that were just filmed. In that area.
Well, and Robert Rodriguez,
Richard Linklater.
Richard Linklater, yeah. Even like Tarantino has done some stuff in Austin. I think he shot all of Planet Terror in Austin because they shot part of it at the Texas Chili Parlor. I wanted to go there. I've been there before, but the interior of the not Planet Terror. What's the Death Proof? Yeah, the one with Kurt Russell killed. Yeah, they shot like the first half of that movie takes place inside the Texas Chili Parlor. It's just right around the corner from the Capitol building.
They make it look like it's out in the middle of nowhere.
I know. Yeah, no, it's not in the middle of nowhere. It's fucking right by the Capitol. But movie magic.
So there's a film that Richard Linklater did. For those that don't know, he's the one that did Dazed and Confused.
Oh, the best. Slacker?
Yeah, Slacker.
Yeah, I love Slacker.
It's crazy watching Slacker now because it was filmed like in '89.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much, it's not a one shot, but it basically is like
a day. Follows out,
Yeah, it's like a day in the life of what it was like living in Austin.
Really interesting movie.
And so, they filmed part of it in West Campus, the UT campus.
Okay.
There's like empty lots.
I haven't watched that movie in 20 years, probably. I probably watched it in high school because I remember seeing the VHS box all the time. I'm like, what the hell is that? And I found out it was shot in Texas. And then, that was sort of my entry, my gateway into Linklater. That and like Dazed and Confused and like Before Sunrise.
Yeah. But because you look at it now and it's just like there's that's just a part of Austin we'll never ever experience ever again.
Nope. I know. Like it's funny. I've been reading Blaze Foley's biography on and off. His, do you know?
I know Blaze Foley.
Did you watch that movie?
I did not actually.
They showed it at Alamo, and the guy Ben Dickey that plays Blaze in the movie came to the Lubbock Alamo, and he did like a Q&A. Ethan Hawke, of course, the director, he didn't come to Lubbock. He's like, I ain't coming to Lubbock. But Ben Dickey came, but it's that because a lot of Blaze's life, he lived in Austin. He was all over the place, but towards the end of his life. And Austin was it was sort of like a sketchy, sort of when a homeless guy can afford to, couch surf there, and then, so 30, 40 years ago, Austin, not the same as Austin today.
Yeah, and I can't think of the person's name, but the one that created Keep Austin Weird was a homeless, cross-dresser, but even like the Keep Austin Weird thing, like that thing just doesn't exist anymore.
No. I mean, it's still weird, but it's weird because it's artificially weird. I feel like, But I mean, I still love that the mothership is there, that the comedy mothership, and then we didn't get to go inside; it wasn't open yet. But we went down 6th Street and checked out, the Red Bands Club and stuff, Brian Red Bands Club, and it was fun. We and then we ended the night at the Creek in the Cave on New Year's Eve, which was nuts. Have you ever been to the Creek in the Cave? It's pretty cool, but it was all the comics that were, not all of them, but a lot of the comics that had signed up for Kill Tony ended up there on New Year's Eve. It was kind of like a rave, and it was awesome.
Yeah, we me and my brother not this past New Year's, but the New Year's before that. We went to go see Duncan Trussell.
Oh, hell yeah. I love him.
So that was a good set. And then
Duncan Trussell.
Yeah, we saw him on the 30th and the 31st. We went to the Moody Theater where they do ACL.
Yeah. I've been there. I've seen Mulaney there and Judas Priest.
Yeah, we did. We saw Gary Clark Jr.
You want to know what? Gary Clark Jr. closed out the show on New Year's Eve. They brought him out. So Marcus King sat in with the band both nights. So you're a fan of Marcus King? Do you know him?
I know him, but I have yet to listen to his music.
He's fucking great. He's from South Carolina. I don't know if he lives in Austin now or just is friends with the Kill Tony guys, but he sat in with the band both nights. They didn't really make a big deal about it. He was just sitting there. Yeah. And if I'd have gotten pulled, I would have been more nervous performing in front of him because I'm a musician is my first art form, and then stand up is something I picked up a few years ago. But yeah, it's the show closed. They brought out Undertaker at the beginning. I didn't know the Undertaker was from Texas. He's an Austin guy. So they brought him out, and he kind of introed the show. And then when they closed it out, they brought Gary Clark Jr., and he played Come Together with the band. So I'm like, fucking Gary Clark Jr. It was so great. It was such a fun show. Yeah, and we got to watch the whole thing for free because we were signed up. So It was the Kill Tony. Have you gotten to watch Kill Tony live before? Okay.
No.
Honestly, I would have been a little bit disappointed if I'd have paid $100 for tickets, but getting to go, being on the list, so I could have gotten pulled, and then getting to see the show for free, and the whole experience was fun. But
that's almost like hitting the lottery trying to get.
Well, there's like 200. There were 200 to 250 people signed up each night, so the odds, they only pick 7 or 8 bucket pools, but it was fun though. It was still, like having your minute ready. And what they do is they just have like a whiteboard, and the guy writes the name, and then he holds it up, and then you come up to where he is, and then he takes you backstage, and then you go up about 10 minutes later.
So it's like very because I've always wondered how they do it, because I was like, do they stand up from their table then go up there?
Well, I think since we were at the HEB Center in Cedar Park, we were sitting in the audience, and there was a designated area. But if you had tickets already, they wanted to know where your seats were so they could find you. But all of us that didn't have tickets were in one designated area. Now, I've heard that when they do it at the mothership, or when they used to do it at Vulcan Gas Company, they would have you be hanging out in another bar. They'd come around, find okay, it's John Smith, and then they find you, bring you, have you ready. So that's my friends that have done it that way. They told me that's how it works for those shows.
It's crazy what the comedy scene has become in Austin.
I know. Well, and it was.
I mean, the Austin comedy scene, they always credit Bill Hicks for starting it. He was probably more Houston, I would say.
Well, he started in Houston. I think it was really it wasn't one person. I think it was a lot of comics, the Moon Tower Festival, because there isn't one noteworthy famous comic that's from Austin. A lot of them started there. They would move to other cities. Nick Mullen was in Austin for a while before he ended up on the East Coast. I forget. There's a bunch of comics that have been in Austin at various points in time, but I think it was Moon Tower, and then post COVID or during COVID, Tom Segura, Rogan, Hinchcliffe moving there has kind of built it up even more to this other upper echelon thing.
Well, because I remember when I was going to Tech, because I minored in theater. So,
really?
So I did a lot of theater classes, and one of our instructors, he said he was a comedian in the Austin scene. He had said he did it in Chicago for a little bit, but I guess, he was a small fish. He was a small fish in a big bowl, however you say it. Yeah,
small fish in a big pond.
So he moved to Austin, but he had said that the Austin scene is not quite there.
No, at that point in time, and even now, I feel like it's not like New York. If somebody's here's unlimited money to go live anywhere you want and go do stand up and pursue stand up, I would go to New York City. Fuck LA, fuck Austin. I mean, not literally, but yeah, I would. If I wanted to get famous doing stand up, I would go to New York City, because that's where all my favorite stand ups are from. That's where they started. That's where, and getting on at the Cellar and the Stand, and all of that. That's where I would. That's where, in my perceptions, that's where I would go. But Chicago's still a good town too, I think, and Toronto has a good scene. But yeah, stand up in general is, I don't know. It's such a weird thing. But who do you like right now as far as stand up goes? Who are some of your favorites?
Right now, I mean, I feel like, I do listen to Theo Von, Shane Gillis, those people,
podcasts, also the stand up.
Yeah, those people right now. But I'm still a big fan of the classics. My favorite comedian of all time is probably Mitch Hedberg, R.I.P.
One of the greatest ever. I have a friend who got to see him a couple times. Super jealous.
I really feel like if he was alive today, he would have been the master of Twitter comedy.
Yeah. Well, he was so short. It was, his jokes were quick. I mean, you can name a subject and you can think of a Mitch Hedberg joke about it. There's a Mitch Hedberg joke about sandwiches. There's a Mitch Hedberg joke. I mean, he had a joke about everything.
Yeah, he'll say shit there ought to be a vending machines that sells vending machines. It'd be real fucking big.
The best.
Like that.
He's like, yeah, you know how they invented that little flap at the vending machine? Before they invented that, it was hard times for vending machine owners. It's like, I think I'll get that candy bar and every candy bar on the bottom row. Yeah. It's like his inflection too, the way he said a joke. It's like, I think you should only get 3 horn hawks a month. It's like, I wish I hadn't seen Ricky on the sidewalk that day. I mean, I could quote him for hours, and I just love listening to it because, and Hicks is kind of like Hicks is one of my favorite ones, but Bill Hicks was kind of the opposite. He's got these long jokes, like the very, like, here's why I hate this. But
this is why I hate Jay Leno. And
exactly.
Talk about Jay Leno shooting him in the head. And
oh God, yeah.
The blood would go on the wall, and it's the NBC peacock.
Oh God, yeah. I got into him during Napster, like, because I was in high school when Napster came out, and I would read these articles like on about stand up, and it's like, oh yeah, Bill Hicks Relentless, Bill Hicks Rant in E minor, Arizona Bay. So I would find those in like one big file, not even cut it up into tracks, and I would just like put that burn it onto a CD and listen to it over and over again.
That honestly really was the way back then.
Yeah.
The comedy was the CD.
Yeah.
I mean, now, there's so many stand-up specials now.
Like and most comics don't even put out audio only. I mean, you can find them, but it's YouTube specials. It's YouTube, Netflix, Hulu, yeah. So many.
Like if you had a comedy special, back then, like you were, because I mean, it was HBO.
Yeah.
That was really the ones that did it. But now, like when it comes to comedy stand-up specials, man, I still love Delirious to this day by Eddie Murphy.
Yeah. He's great. Yeah, and that's one of the first, I would say, like modern stand-up specials, because those jokes still hit. They still, like, I've listened to older ones. I think a lot of Richard Pryor stuff is still hits and is still relevant. If you go back and listen to like something like what's his name, Lenny Bruce. He's talking about like the news. He's like reading the paper. He's like, all right, well, Barry Goldwater. It's like, this is really hard to, but it was very up to date and everything. So
but without him,
the obscenity laws and stuff, he challenged all that shit.
Yeah, that's wild how back then you could just like, imagine you going back to the 50s and saying what you say.
Oh yeah, no, God, they would have shot me. It's like, what is this fucking?
Yeah, like he'll talk about Catholics, he'll talk about Jews. Like, he didn't care at the time.
Oh no, he didn't give a shit. Yeah, did you ever watch Marvelous Miss Maisel, the TV show?
I have not, but I know that.
Yeah, he's a character. Yeah, in it, and I don't know how accurate.
Didn't Dustin Hoffman play him?
Dustin Hoffman, yeah. So, what's his name? Forget the director. He did. I think Bob Fosse. I think Bob Fosse in the late 70s, early 80s, probably late 70s, did a movie about Lenny Bruce with Dustin Hoffman. I've never seen it before, but it's kind of the tragic era of Lenny Bruce. Like with his heroin addiction and everything.
Yeah.
No, there is that movie.
But when it comes to comedy, I'm trying to think who else. I mean, growing up, we would listen to Richard Pryor.
Sure. Yeah.
I think it was Live at Long Beach. That one's an interesting watch because the show starts, everyone is late to the show.
Oh really?
Like he starts and everyone is just like walking in.
Well, I mean, I'm guessing it was mostly a black audience.
Yeah, well,
they I mean, that is one thing.
But no,
they don't run on time.
But no, it's weird to watch because you're like, they didn't wait at all back then.
He's like, fuck you, I'm starting the show.
Like back then,
the ticket says
like now,
9 o'clock.
like now, you see like concert starts at 8.
Yeah,
that means that's going to start at 8:30.
Yeah, and stand up especially. Like I rarely start a stand up show on time because, especially a ticketed one, we're waiting for more people to come and buy tickets. Yeah. We actually had some people. I did this show right around Christmas, and these people were sitting there, and it was like show was going to start at 8. It was like 8:20. They're like, "Oh, give us our money back. Y'all aren't starting the show." It's like, you really want to watch this show with 7 other people? We're trying to wait for more people to come. So yeah.
Steve Martin had a story that he talked about where back in the 70s, Richard Pryor had did this show at some coffee shop, and he had 2 shows. There was one at like 7:30, and the other one started at 9. Well, he bought a ticket to the 7:30 one. Well, 7:30 goes by, then 8 o'clock goes by, 8:30 goes by, the 9. So now in this tiny ass coffee shop, there's 2 audiences that bought tickets to 2 shows, end up doing one single show.
Oh, well, that's smart. Yeah. Yeah, do 2 shows and just combine them into one.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny because I mean, you've been to comedy clubs before. Those they run like well-oiled machine because you've got the 7:30 show, you got the 9:30 show, so they're doing their ticket drops, trying to get people out in time for the next show to start. Seems like it would be way easier as a comic to just do one big theater show, but not everybody's on that level, so they have to do like. Go fly somewhere, do 4 shows in a weekend, do 2 Friday, 2 Saturday. Yeah. But I loved it. Yeah. I love going to a comedy club because you have the option. Like, I can go to the late show and the early show.
Yeah, I also went to the Laugh Factory. Not the one in California. Sure. The one in Vegas. It's not there. It's not there anymore.
Oh, really? I didn't know.
It was in the Tropicana, but they knocked down the Tropicana this year.
Oh, all right.
Because now it's going to become the baseball stadium for the A's.
Oh, okay.
So that's gonna be interesting. But Vegas, they've been trying to make Vegas like a, I mean, yeah, there's residencies there,
but like a big city that you want to come, see the Raiders, see the A's. I didn't know the A's were moving to Oakland, or moving from Oakland to Las Vegas.
Yeah, poor Oakland, they have no sports anymore.
Well, I mean, just go across the bay to San Francisco. They've got all the. I always thought it was so weird how close those 2 cities are, and they both had baseball and football teams. That was so strange to me. Like, but
the Raiders went to Vegas, and now the A's going to Vegas. Yeah. For a while, they had considered the Warriors to go to Vegas.
Oh, really? Time. Yeah, huh?
Yeah,
that's interesting. Yeah. I mean, they probably have real estate is becoming a less common commodity in California. Yeah. It's all burning. San Francisco isn't yet, but
no water. That's the thing.
Yeah,
hell, Vegas has no damn water too.
Yeah, but
they have these laws now. When you build a house, you can't use grass. You have to use gravel now.
Oh, well, that makes sense. The modern lawn is such a goofy idea. It's like, why do I have to grow something that I just mow? It costs me more money to maintain. I know Roy probably doesn't like to hear that because that's his livelihood for the most part.
But, I wonder how the landscaping business is in Vegas right
move
now.
On. Maybe you just have to go full-time podcasting. But okay, so one thing I haven't mentioned yet, we have the same birthday.
Yeah, we do.
We do. So what do you talk to anybody like Virgos or whatever? I mean, is there any like truth? Do you buy into any of the astrology bullshit?
I think in some ways, there's something there, but I don't know. Some people take it to a different level. They
you mean women? Women take it to a different level.
I've met some dudes that get real.
No, there are guys. There are guys for sure that get up their own ass about it.
But no, I think. I think in some ways there's some truth. I mean, we're all different.
Mm-hmm.
We all have our certain traits that come from our personality.
Yes. Yeah.
So I think in some ways, I mean, who's to say we were born when Venus was, at this certain part?
Yeah.
Who knows? But some people get real into it, but some people, like I've met people that will say like, oh, Saturn's in this part, that means that I have to do this.
Or they're OCD about it.
Yeah, but I've read up some crazy things about, like, apparently Reagan would set his schedule based on what was going on.
I've heard that Nancy was very into that, and she kind of pushed him. Well, he's from California, so that makes sense.
Hey, she was probably a witch back then.
Yeah. Well, she was a commie. That's how he met her. Did you watch that Reagan movie?
The one with Dennis Quaid? I did not.
Okay,
actually.
So I only watched it because my mom wanted to go see it, and my mom doesn't go to the movies by herself. So we went and watched it. That was one of the worst fucking movies I've ever seen in my life. It was terrible. But then I watched it within the same week as The Substance, that also has Dennis Quaid, and that was amazing.
Yeah, Substance was great.
Yeah, it's such a different. You see him like playing this cartoon version of Ronald Reagan, like, hey, mommy, riding a horse and shit. And then you see him like eating shrimp, and he's like, really gross, grotesque in The Substance.
He basically plays himself.
Yeah, kind of. He plays his brother Randy.
I always hear, I always hear about bad stories about meeting Dennis Quaid.
Really?
Yeah, because well,
He's from Texas.
He is from Texas, but he did a movie called The Rookie.
Yeah, I know The Rookie. I never saw it.
That was actually filmed in a town that I used to live in called Thrall, Texas.
What's this?
Thrall. That's what it's called. Thrall, Texas. THRALL. Thrall.
Never heard of it. Where's it close to?
It's north of the Austin area.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of closer where College Station is.
Oh, okay. And that's why I never heard of it.
But Chase, Dirty South, we actually grew up 6 miles apart, and we had no.
Oh yeah, no. Shout out Chase,
because he lived in a town called Thorndale.
Yeah,
which they were like two rival schools today. But they filmed The Rookie at those parts. But they did some baseball scenes at the high schools, and I always hear people say that, oh yeah, like he was an ass.
Really? That's disappointing.
My brother actually saw him at an airport.
Oh.
And he said he witnessed someone coming up to him. I was like, hey, are you Dennis Quaid?
Yeah.
And he was just being a smart ass and was like, well, yeah. Like the way he is. Funny. And he was like, yeah, can I take a picture? And I guess the guy had trouble taking his phone. I guess he was so nervous. And he was like, were you going to take the fucking picture or what?
Oh, jeez. Yeah. Yeah. You know, I hear stories like that, but then at the same time, I always take it with a grain of salt, because how often like if you're in a little town and they're not expecting, or probably people have like said, oh, Dennis Quaid's around here. He's probably getting that shit constantly. And it's like, he's got to stop what he's doing, take his time. But I mean, you are, as a celebrity, you are famous because of the people, because they go to see your movies, because they go, yeah. So I'm sure he's, a dick. But my friend, I've got a friend I work with. She's related to there's this country singer named Johnny Rodriguez. Have you heard of him? He's not super like him and Dennis Quaid are friends, and she's like, yeah, Dennis Quaid's friends with my uncle, and I'm like, what? And she shows me this video, and there's like a music video with like Johnny Rodriguez recording in a studio somewhere in Texas, and he's got a bunch of people hanging out, and Dennis Quaid's there, and he's like, oh yeah, Johnny's a great artist and all this shit. I'm like, wow, that's weird. Yeah, those weird connections. But I wonder if Dennis Quaid lives in Texas full time.
I think he does. I know.
Yeah, he seems like he would. I'm a big fan of his
I've seen some pictures of him hanging out at Cook's Garage, of all places.
Here?
Yeah, here.
Really?
So,
I mean, that's interesting.
But the owner of Cook's Garage, I think he knows quite a bit of people.
Yeah. I mean, that place kind of blew up. Every time I drive by there on my way, to when I go to Midland or Odessa, I drove by there last night because we did some comedy in Odessa, and it's like that place has such a great stage. I just don't really like, when they did like the Trump rallies and shit, it just kind of turned me off. I'm like, really? You're using your business as a music venue that a lot of people are coming to prop up your bullshit politics? That's stupid. Like, come on.
Yeah.
That sort of turned me off.
Yeah, no, it's kind of crazy the concerts they get there.
I know. Yeah, they get some good ones. A lot of country, but also like hip hop and didn't they have like Everclear out there?
They had Cypress Hill was out there.
Hill, yeah.
Bone Thugs and Harmony with Ice Cube as well.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And then what's his name? Steve
Aoki.
Aoki,
okay.
Whatever.
Yeah, Steve Aoki. Yeah.
So
one of the funniest things, I didn't know this until just via listening to podcasts. You remember the movie Sin City?
Yes.
So the Japanese girl, the one that's like cutting people's heads off and stuff in that movie, one of the hookers, or that actress's name is Devin Aoki. She was in a couple of movies. She's Steve Aoki's little sister, and then they have another brother who is he's like the head of the Anti-Asian Defamation League or something, or the Anti-Defamation League for Asian. So anytime like when Shane Gillis got in trouble, like Steve Aoki's brother is like, hey, Shane, you need to apologize and all this shit. It's really interesting. Yeah, so that I think their dad is like a famous businessman who could figure out how to get his kids, important, powerful positions. So they're Nepo babies, Japanese Nepo babies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What was your favorite movie of 2024? I haven't watched the year-end wrap-up that you and Jen did.
My list was a little off because I hadn't seen, because usually the best movies of that year don't come out till Christmas
sometimes
time.
they come out until after the first here in Lubbock.
Honestly, a Complete Unknown kind of really, I really liked.
Well, I'll definitely have to watch it then.
Yeah, because I mean, I like Nosferatu.
Yeah.
But I feel like Nosferatu kind of became something that was,
Yeah. Well, it hasn't been that long since y'all, the Lords of Film, y'all did the screening of Bram Stoker's Dracula, the Francis Ford Coppola one, and I was watching. I'm like, this is the same exact storyline. I liked the way Robert Eggers did it more than Coppola. It's more stylized. I like. I mean, but Gary Oldman's Dracula is like, that's an icon. I feel like you can't really compare the two.
Well, what's wild with Nosferatu is it's a piece of plagiarism.
Yeah, it is. It's just the Asylum film version, from the 100 years ago.
And because at the time, Dracula wasn't public domain.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and they didn't want to pay Bram Stoker's widow.
Yeah, because they were like, well, let's not call him Count Dracula. He'll be Count Orlok.
Yeah.
And let's make him look like a rat.
Yeah.
And then they took out some characters and they still caught on to it, of course.
Oh, yeah.
But like that studio, whatever it was called, that was their first and only film.
Yeah.
Because they got sued. And
yeah. And they destroyed all of the prints except for a couple that remained, and then it got distributed and became this.
Yeah, that would have been wild if
there's a lot of silent films that do not exist anymore, or cuts like they thought, like there was a longer version of Metropolis that they thought had been lost forever, and now there's a longer. They finally found it in an attic in Germany or something.
That's the thing about those films is even if they're stored away in storage, they could still just rot.
Deteriorate. Yeah, because celluloid is not a very resilient material. It can catch on fire or whatever. Yeah, Inglourious Bastards. It's the most flammable shit out there.
True.
This last year, I really liked Long Legs. I really liked a lot of the stuff I liked was in the horror genre. Too. Substance, I like The Substance. But yeah, that Strange Darling. I'm trying to remember what else came out. I fucking loved Y2K. I loved Y2K so much. I really like Kyle Mooney, and I really like Brigsby Bear too. And his TV show that he did for Netflix was really funny. I'm drawing a blank. There were so many good movies that came out in 2024. What's it called? I'm not really into TV shows, but I ended up watching. I finished the first season last night. Landman. Okay, there's a second person that has told me about that in the last few days. Is it worth watching?
I think so. Okay. Because it's.
I like Billy Bob.
Because it's what's his name? Taylor Sheridan.
Yeah, Taylor Sheridan.
He's the one that does Yellowstone.
Yeah,
I'm not too crazy about Yellowstone.
I'm not either.
But Landman's pretty good. I mean, he does his research because it's set in Midland.
Yeah, and they make references to tech. I've heard a lot of tech references.
Yeah, there's a scene where he's like, we were in Lubbock, Texas, at the Overton Hotel.
Oh wow!
They do.
They did some Googling to find out the nicest hotel in Lubbock. Did they shoot it in Midland?
They do some parts, but it's mainly shot in Fort Worth.
Oh, that makes sense.
Because it's like it does the oil company, like the corporates in Fort Worth, but the oil's in Midland. But I like Billy Bob Thornton a lot too.
Yeah, and I mean it's funny that they cast him. He's from Arkansas, but he gets cast as a Texan a lot because he was the football coach in Friday Night Lights.
He really is our Davy Crockett.
yeah, kind of. I mean, isn't he like distantly related to Davy Crockett?
That I do not know.
Maybe I'm thinking Charlie Crockett. I know Charlie Crockett's distantly related. And didn't Billy Bob Thornton play Davy Crockett in that Alamo? That's why I'm thinking. That's the confusion there on my end. Do you want to know the first movie I remember seeing Billy Bob Thornton in? He's in Tombstone for like that. He plays the guy that's going to go blow off Kurt, and then he fucking
he takes
the gun away from him, and that was great.
Yeah, it's not a Billy Bob Thornton movie until he says, "You stupid son of a bitch."
Yeah, oh god. And Sling Blade, I love Sling Blade. Did you ever watch this one? I think it might have been one of his earliest movies called One False Move. Did you ever see that? Mm-mm. He wrote it. He wrote the screenplay. I forget who directed it, but it's basically the plot is it's him and this guy and this girl. So he's Billy Bob Thornton. Like he plays kind of a scumbag. He's got like a ponytail and he's dating this black chick, and I think like her brother and the three of them are all like bank robbers, and it might have Bill Paxton. I can't remember, but they're bank robbers, and they're on the run, and someone's trying to catch. There's a cop, like the FBI is trying to catch them. It's pretty good.
As a young kid, I remember. I think the first movie I really got to see, it was a movie called Bandits.
Oh yeah, him and Bruce Willis and Cate Blanchett. Yeah, that's an interesting movie.
I remember seeing that one. I remember seeing it on Tombstone.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think who else.
Yeah, he was in Armageddon.
Yeah, he was in Armageddon.
Yeah. But as far as starring roles,
and Friday Night Lights, he plays a good Gary Gaines.
Yeah,
I had actually met the real Gary Gaines.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Wow. But yeah, that was. I love Friday Night Lights. Even though I've
never seen it.
Even though the book is way better.
Oh yeah, yeah.
In the movie, they fictionalize a lot of shit.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, because like they play at the Astrodome in the state championship, which in real life they play at a UT stadium.
Oh, okay.
But they play at the Astrodome, and inside the Astrodome, it's like full of people.
Yeah,
like 100,000 people are there. So there's no way 100,000 people are going for a high school game.
Yeah, it was a little. Did they fill up UT Stadium for that?
I mean, it's decently filled up, but it's not. It was at the time. It wasn't as big as what that one was.
Yeah. No, that stadium's huge. I just drove by it last week. But or week and a half ago, I don't know. Time is whatever. This year has been weird because I had like 2 weeks off of work. You probably had a while off work too. Yeah. So I just went back this last week, and it's just like, oh yeah, it's a new year, huh? Yeah.
That's a rough. That's a rough couple of days when you go back.
Yeah. Well, and this week has been real slow because students aren't back, but. Okay, so we're wrapping up. We started talking about Andy Kaufman, and I just remembered. Did you watch the TV show Succession? Were you a fan of Succession at all?
No.
Okay.
I did not.
All right. So I watched a movie that came out in 2024 that I did not like very much. I was very excited for it. Did you watch the Saturday night movie?
I did actually.
I didn't think it was very good.
It was all over the place.
Yeah, it was too. I was disappointed because I really like Jason Reitman. I read there's a book about SNL that I read about the first 10 years of SNL. So I know a lot about that whole and the stuff with Jim Henson, them not wanting to work with the right sketches for the puppets. That's all accurate and stuff.
No,
but so did you realize the same actor Nicholas Braun plays Andy Kaufman and Jim Henson in that movie? It's the same actor, but he was in the TV show Succession. So he's like doing the Andy thing, and he does a pretty good Andy. He was taller than Andy was. Andy wasn't that tall because Nicholas Braun's like 6'4", 6'5". But then Jim Henson was pretty tall, and they just put a beard on him, and he plays both roles. I'm like, I wonder why they chose that. That was such an interesting choice to have the same guy play Andy Kaufman, and they don't even mention it. They don't even mention the fact that he's. It's just the credits at the end: Nicholas Braun, Andy Kaufman, and Jim Henson.
Yeah, I remember a long time ago watching that first episode, and that's a rough episode. I mean, I mean, you could tell it's a bunch of kids doing it at the time.
Yeah. But I love it. This SNL, but the movie, it was especially considering Jason Reitman directed it and his dad was involved. Ivan Reitman worked with a lot of those actors. It was all right.
Yeah,
I mean, I didn't hate it.
Chevy Chase apparently said that it wasn't accurate, but hell, I don't really believe anything. Chevy
Chase is. It's weird because I really liked Chevy Chase movies when I was a kid, and then I kind of came to my own conclusion. I'm like, you know what? Clark Griswold's kind of an asshole. I don't really. Probably my favorite Chevy Chase movie is Funny Farm. Did you ever see that one?
I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's pretty good. That one's good. And then. Yeah, I don't know. And then when I heard about that feud between him and Bill Murray also an asshole, but he's a more talented asshole.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah, I definitely on that scale prefer.
Probably a lot more fun to work with too.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Well, I mean, did you ever hear the story about? So him and Harold Ramis had a falling out at one point, and because when they did Groundhog Day. Bill Murray wanted it to be, I think one of them wanted it to be more serious and the other one wanted it to be more comedic. And Bill Murray, just to make make things difficult, he hired a deaf person to be his personal assistant. So this deaf person was like relaying messages, and they didn't know how to communicate. And he's like, "Yeah, he just did it to fuck with the whole cast." So, but yeah, Bill Murray, yeah, definitely more fun to work with, I would imagine. But yeah, man, anything you want to plug or any? We're almost at an hour here.
Yeah. Let's see. I guess listen to The Snake Pit. Listen to Lords of Film and all the other Snake Pit Studios.
Yeah. This one
podcast. This
Big
one
Pink Pee-Pee Show.
Big Pink Pee-Pee Show, of course. Look forward to doing events that we got planned going on. We got Lords of Film events going on as well.
Exciting.
We're looking forward to do more screenings at the Cactus Theater as well.
Cool.
But yeah, just we had a great year last year, so we're just hoping we could make it just as good, or if not top out what we did last year.
Awesome, man. Yeah. And follow all the stuff. And thanks for watching the Breaking Hyman podcast. Thank you, Bradley. And y'all be safe.